Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone. A big warm welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where we provide world-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. I'm Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, the President, Founder, and Chief Listening Officer here at our network. We are thrilled to welcome you to our show today, which is Elegance, Polished Demeanor, Posh Living, starring Zane Carson Carruth. We are going to bring out the star of our show. Her name is Zane Carson Carruth. And I'd like to share a little bit about Zane before we have her out here. She's a certified etiquette and expert when it comes to all things about protocols regarding manners and the way that we conduct ourselves. She's also written many articles for magazines. She is a keynote speaker, and she's an international award-winning author. She focuses a lot of her time and work with her books on children and bringing joy to the world. Zane is someone I consider to be a dear friend, and I'm super excited that she's here to help us have a great show today as we talk about what it is like to run a yacht, what it's like to travel through France with your family. And we always think everything is an upside, but we're going to hear the upside and then some of the things that maybe didn't go as well. Let's welcome Zane Carson Carruth to the program.
Well, hi, how are you?
Hi, Zane. It's so good to see you. As I mentioned backstage, you look absolutely stunning. You are radiant.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I'm well rested somewhat. Still have a little bit of jet lag, but I'm happy to be back in good old United States.
You know, I love that you said that. I've traveled myself, and every time I come back to this country, I'm like, whoa, I'm so glad I'm back here in the United States. I don't know why. Have you ever felt like that?
Well, I mean, over there, you realize there's a reason people try so hard to come live in the United States. There's a reason for that. Everything we have is just first class. There's so much focus on safety over here in the United States. And anyway, it's beautiful. All over the world is beautiful, but there's no place like home. There really isn't.
I couldn't have said it any better. Zane, as a certified etiquette and protocol professional, what is the value that you can bring to an organization or interested parties who want to know more?
Well, one thing that I like to do, or I think is very important, is like for those programs where they're trying to reintroduce somebody into the workplace, like maybe a homeless person, and they're trying to get them a job. You have to have a certain level of confidence to do that. And knowing manners, and I'm not talking table manners, but just how to shake someone's hand, how to enter a room, how to speak to somebody, how to listen properly, that builds up your confidence. And that's what having manners does. It builds up your confidence and helps you. That's one thing off your plate you don't have to worry about. If you know when you're going somewhere, well, I know what to say. I know how to approach people. I know how to respond. That's all part of elegant, beautiful manners. And that's what I like to bring to the table. And I stress that a lot to my grandsons. One is 16, and they're very patient with me, but I always tell them, you're going to thank me for this someday. So let's just keep on with the program.
Thank you for sharing that, especially the personal aspect. When we travel abroad, we might not know how other cultures behave. I understand in some places you're not supposed to look someone in the eye. You're supposed to look at their forehead or anywhere but directly in the eyes. And in some countries, people have to wear head covers, etc. Would you recommend that people do research before they travel or reach out to someone like you so that they have information before they go and do something that might be perceived in a different way?
Absolutely. Because some countries are very strict about certain things. Plus, you don't want to put someone on the spot. Like in China or Japan, you don't want to talk about certain things, families, children, having babies, not having babies, because it's a very sensitive subject in some places. And yes, it's always wise to do your research before you go somewhere. It really is. It pays off in dividends, basically.
Thank you, Zane. One thing I want to talk about before we get into your trip is when we are traveling, especially if we're going abroad, maybe it's a flight that's 24 hours or 12 hours, a long time, we can start to feel very emotional. And when we're emotional, we might forget about our etiquette and manners. You see people losing it on flights all of the time. And you wonder, were they misinformed as to how you're supposed to behave as a human being, or did their emotions happen to take over? And if you are in a disagreement with someone, or you're not able to negotiate things the way you would like to negotiate in business, and you start to become highly emotional, and when you become emotional, your etiquette and manners can go out the window. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, absolutely. Because traveling, especially abroad, can be very, very triggering. It can be very tiring because you don't have control. Like when we were coming back, the TVs didn't work on the plane. Well, you're looking at a 9-hour flight without having TV or Wi-Fi. Good news, they did get it to work. But my thought was, oh my gosh, what are the people going to do if they didn't bring a book? If they left their hotel without it or their home. So you do have to be mindful that there are going to be times where you are totally out of control. You just have to take a deep breath. And for me, you just have to say a prayer and ask God to please give me patience and guidance for this, because you can lose it. People can get on your nerves, and you just have to be in a totally different mindset.
Absolutely. And you, unfortunately, were in a very bad accident while you were traveling. And I'd like you to share whatever you feel comfortable sharing. And I just like to tee it up this way. I've seen people who've been in fender benders, one person get out of the car and scream like a complete maniac at the other person, as though the person did it intentionally. So, and what happened to you was on a whole other level. So would you share with our audience about what happened and how you reacted to it?
Yeah, that was just weird. We were driving from Paris. Actually, we were on our way to Monet's Garden. That was the one thing on my bucket list I wanted to see when we were over there. And our driver, well, the speed limit's very fast over there. It was like 80 miles per hour. Our driver fell asleep and we started skidding. And I just remember thinking, uh-oh. And then we started rolling and flipping. And I just thought, this is not good. I went into shock and was completely calm. And the car was demolished. It was, and luckily it was a Mercedes SUV, and they are built very strongly. They have a real strong, overhead system and framework that saved our lives, because after we rolled 2 or 3 times and then just flipped. But the grace of God was with us, because as soon as the car stopped, I looked across the street and there were 3 men walking over very calmly towards us, because we couldn't get out of the car. It was all, well, you saw a picture of the car. It was all mangled. Every window, everything was broken. And they were able to pry the door open and they got us out, and they tended to, so my husband had a few cuts on his hand because it just rained dirt and broken glass everywhere. And, but I mean, we went to the hospital because I had a bad bump on the head, a big old knot, but we were checked out. But it was weird because, we come from Houston, which is the best medical center in the world. And we were in this little hospital in this little town in France. And the doctor didn't even have a flashlight to look in my eyes. You know how they do when they check you for a concussion? I said, well, aren't you going to use a flashlight to look in my eyes? He goes, well, I don't have a flashlight. He spoke very broken English, but luckily he spoke English. He says, I'll use my phone. So he examined me with the flashlight on his phone. That was kind of an eye-opener. It made me appreciate what we have in the States. Very good medical facilities. But no one in that hospital spoke English, but that resident did. He was a resident. I guess that's a doctor. But anyway, it was
Zane,
just
I have a question about that, because I think that's important to know. So you're in another country. You've been in a car accident. What happens with insurance? Because the insurance doesn't work outside the U.S., does it?
Well, evidently it did. I haven't gotten a bill yet, but they took all my information. They took my several insurance cards, and we didn't pay. We went after my exam, and he said, if you start feeling this, and this, go to the emergency room and they'll do a scan. I said, well, do a scan now. I don't want to have to worry about that. They wouldn't do it. But like in the States, they would test you for everything.
Right.
Because that's how they make their money. But so anyway, I left there not knowing if I had a concussion. I didn't have one right that minute, but it could come up later, which is weird. But anyway, the whole thing was weird. But yeah, it was, and that makes you think, people think, oh, wow, how lucky you got this gorgeous trip. Well, bad things happen all the time to everybody, good things and bad things. So, we're not immune to just having this wonderful golden trip, even though it turned out great, but it, scarred Brady and I a lot, riding in the back of a car. Every time we got in a car with a driver, we showed him the picture and we said, please drive slow because their speed limit is so high. And we went from Houston to Chantilly to horse races, then to Paris, and then on the way to Monet's Gardens when we had the wreck, Normandy, Nice, and Cannes. So we were in a car a lot, and it, you couldn't really enjoy the drive, but the drive up in Cannes and Monaco and Monte Carlo should have been just gorgeous, which I'm sure it was, but we were white knuckle riders because you're on the edge of that cliff, and oh mercy. But anyway, we survived, and it was a great trip. And
you look even more beautiful. So I'm sorry that you had to go through that, and I'm glad that you're with your family and able to have some good times. Let's turn to what it's like to actually rent a yacht. I was sharing with you backstage that I'm not a boat person, but give me a yacht and I'm around.
I'll tell you what, it was great. We had a staff of 5 because it was our whole family. There were 9 of us on board, and a staff of 5, and they couldn't have been nicer. They all speak broken English, but they speak English, and all they want to do is make you happy, to serve you. And what time, and then I got to make all the decisions because my husband didn't want to make any of them. He goes, don't ask me any questions, ask her about everything. So it was when we ate, what we did, when we did it. So that was fun for me because normally I just let Brady make all the decisions. But anyway, it was good. But the food's just not that good. I lost 3 pounds on my trip, and we were in France for 25 days. So that we're either ordering the wrong food, but anyway, it was nice. The seas were a little rough, and it doesn't even have to be a tiny bit rough for the boat to do that. And I got seasick, and it was miserable when it all looks good from the outside, but if you have a tendency to get motion sickness, going on a yacht's probably not for you. It's not something you want to do. But if you're to do that, you just have to, there are tricks to the trade. You lay down and you look at something that doesn't move, the horizon, the mountains, and that does help. But if you stay in port, you do fine. So we were lucky and was able to, because we couldn't go to St. Tropez because the weather was too bad. So we didn't have port reservations, but there were enough cancellations in Cannes so we stayed there 3 days and, had not intended to do that. But it was great. I mean, it's just exactly like what you would picture it. All those little sidewalk cafes and shops and, everybody was very nice, very nice. Everybody was happy. And, my grandsons, 16 and 11 were there. They even had a good time. So, because, we did water sports because they pull a little boat behind them. So they were able to ski and, swim, but the water was very cold. But I didn't swim. I don't like that, but.
I hear you. I agree. And what you just said really made my eyes fly open. You lost 3 pounds on your trip. That's incredible, especially with the French food. So were you doing a lot of walking?
Yes, we averaged about 11 or 12,000 steps a day. And that's, a lot of it was real hilly. And, but I just didn't like the food. And we ate at 2 different Michelin restaurants. One of them, it was just, you got to be kidding me. This is the most ridiculous looking food I've ever seen in my life. And luckily, we either ordered all the wrong things because I didn't enjoy the food at all. But then we went to the Georges V, the Four Seasons in Paris. That Michelin star restaurant was fabulous. We went to celebrate my birthday and our anniversary. So we had lunch there. And it was very good. But yeah, I was thrilled. I am determined not to gain those 3 pounds back.
It's so hard to lose weight as you get older. It's amazing. So congratulations on that. One of my favorite places to go in France is the Ritz. And I was lucky enough to be able to stay there twice, once by myself for 10 days, which was really.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
On the Ritz.
But I had made the mistake the first time I went and I was wearing high heels. You can only walk, a block or 2 before your feet are bleeding.
Yes.
So what kind of footwear did you wear when you were walking?
Well, the nice thing in Paris, this is the honest truth. All the ladies wear tennis shoes with their dresses. So I wore this dress a lot. I mean, I've got this in lots of colors. And I would just wear them with my tennis shoes. But now when we were in Cannes, they didn't wear tennis shoes they wore sandals, but I didn't because I thought, I don't care. I just want to be comfortable. We're going to walk a lot, but that's what I did. I bought some new tennis shoes that I haven't broken in yet. And then I just wore tennis shoes or when we went to the horse races, I did dress up, but I wore the wedges so that you don't sink in the dirt. So.
Yeah, that's important. I'm smiling because I remember on one of the trips, I was with a boyfriend and we went to Monte Carlo and I was really eyeing these shoes and they were high heels. And he said, I will buy you a pair of shoes, but they're not going to be heels. You have to get flats. And I said, I don't want flats. I don't wear flats. And to this day, I still wear them. They are magnificent. They're Renee Calavilla, I think, and they have the stones on the bottom, Oh my gosh, they're outstanding. But back then I would only wear heels, and I wouldn't care if my feet were going to bleed or if I couldn't walk. And today you couldn't pay me. It's funny how things change.
Yes, we wise up.
So that's a question I have for you. When you think about living an elegant life and conducting yourself with etiquette and manners, I own two pairs of sneakers that are sequined. They're like,
oh yes, yeah.
So is it appropriate to, if you're going to a function, for example, to wear a pair of sneakers that are dressy sneakers, or is it still not?
No, you see that a lot. I mean, I don't own one of those pairs. But if I did, I would have worn them every day. But yeah, you do see the sequin sneakers, and well, in Paris you saw sneakers on absolutely everybody, but not so much in some of the other countries, but other cities. But I didn't care. I wore them because I wanted to be comfortable, and I didn't want to. Well, one thing, getting off that boat. Oh my gosh, you've got the gangplank, and it had a railing, but not all the way up, and I thought, I'm not going to wear high heels or something and slip off this gangplank. So you have to think about your safety too, which, that's always paramount when you travel, because you don't want to end up getting hurt on a vacation.
That's very true. That's such a good point, because also, and I mentioned this to you backstage, I use the system of how much joy and happiness versus what's the risk. So wearing the high heels is, in terms of the joy factor, if I'm sitting down, it's a 10. But if I have to walk to sit down, it's a 2. And the fact that you could get hurt is very high up on the scale. And then as we get older, things don't heal the way they used to heal. So here's my next question for you. So you're on this yacht. That doesn't mean, I'm not saying in your case, I'm saying in general, even though it's a yacht and it's luxurious and it's going to be an incredible experience, not everyone is always behaving at their best. So my question is, when you're attending something that's considered to be an elegant event, it could be a wedding, it could be, let's say, Paris fashion show, whatever it could be, your demeanor and the way you handle yourself should match that, shouldn't it?
Absolutely, yes. And unfortunately, though, it doesn't always, because even though we were on this beautiful yacht, and they call it the salon, we would have called it like a living room, had this gorgeous white carpet. Well, my son-in-law got a little rambunctious and spilled a big glass of red wine all over that white carpet, like the first night. So it's like, yeah, that was not necessary. That just wasn't necessary. You could just kind of tone down your exuberance. But anyway, it was fine. Nobody got in trouble, but we'll have to replace the carpet in that whole room. But yes, you do want to keep in mind where you are and your surroundings and act accordingly, because it wasn't like we were at a hunting ranch or a fishing lodge. We were, on this beautiful yacht with white carpet. Note to self, drink white wine, not red wine.
So that brings up another thought. When you do spill something, or an example that I'm going to give, I went out to dinner and I had my very nice handbag, which I'm never putting my handbag on the floor, let alone sitting outside and putting on the concrete.
Bad luck.
It's so typically I'll put it on my lap, but in this case, it was a little larger. So I went to put it on the end of the table, and as I did it, it knocked over a glass, and the glass went on the sidewalk. And I thought, oh no, what's the proper etiquette of what I'm supposed to do now? So what should one do if they knock over a glass?
Well, panic. No, not really, but you just have to call for help, because you can't have the glass there, especially if you're an outdoor cafe or whatever. It has to be cleaned up. And
do you start picking it up yourself? Do you start collecting the pieces?
Well, with a napkin, yes, I would try to, but then you'd always, get a wait staff person to come over and help you. But that handbag thing, that's a tricky thing, because etiquette, you're not supposed to put it on a table, but it's bad luck to put it on the floor. So you do just have to keep that in mind when you go out that night, which handbag you choose. But I like we went to one hotel and they actually gave me a holder for my handbag and let me keep it, where you put it on the table and you can hook it on there. It's kind of hard to explain. So, but
no,
anyway.
I know exactly what you mean. I remember when I went to the Hotel de Paris, and I forget the name of the restaurant that they had there, and they had a chair for the handbags.
Yes.
I love that.
See that a lot. Yeah, we saw that a lot. And that is such a relief, because if you're like us, you do not put your handbags on the floor. You just don't. And it's bad luck, and it's germy, and
this is how crazy I am. When I go to the gym, and the gym where I go here on this island, it's immaculate. But I take a towel and I put my gym bag on the towel, because I don't want that gym bag on the floor. And if I put it in a locker, then I can't tell what's been on that floor. And then I'm bringing it back to the house. So people don't think about that. They put their handbag on the floor, then they bring it in the house and put it on the kitchen table. It's like this suitcase. I want to get into this before we close out today. You take your suitcase, you put it in the overhead bin, you put it here, you put it there. Then you take it and put it on your bed when you get home. No. Tell us.
You have to put a towel down or something. I just leave suitcases on the floor when I pack them or unpack them. But and I had read somewhere, and it said, don't ever, especially if you, you store your suitcase, if you give them to the airline and it goes in their baggage handling, they said, don't ever put that stuff on your bed or your furniture, because it just reeks of germs and dirt and yuck.
Yeah, I'll share this, and then I'll go over to you to close us out today, Zane. I was in Iowa, and the company I worked for at the time was headquartered in Iowa. So I would be there frequently, and I was staying at this very well-known hotel chain. And when I came back, I had bed bugs. Yes, I did. I had bed bugs. And let me tell you something. If you've never had them, you don't want them, because they are really creative creatures. So what they did was they would hide in the electrical outlets. I'm not saying that's smart, but then I had oil paintings in my room, and they were in the oil paintings.
No.
We had to have the house tented and bombed, because I brought bed bugs back in my suitcase. And as it turns out, I contacted the hotel, and they had a sofa in the room. And I remember it was a plaid sofa, and I don't know, I put my suitcase on there because I didn't want it on the bed. So now I always put the suitcase as far away from the bed. And when I come back home, I leave my suitcases in the garage, and I take everything out. Everything goes right into the washer or dry clean, whatever it is, but it doesn't come into the house, because that's how you bring the bed bugs in.
Yes. Yeah. And also, people are known to bring those little German roaches.
Oh, yeah.
But they're hard to get rid of. But no, that gives you the heebie-jeebies. I didn't know bed bugs were that hard to get rid of.
Oh, yeah, they are. And in fact, at one point, they had a rating scale for hotels, especially, I think it was in New York, and there was really an abundance of the bed bugs. I don't know now, but they're very hard to get rid of. They're very hardy. And so anyway, please don't put your suitcases on your bed. Last thing, touching the soles of your shoes. Why? I see guys do this all the time. They cross their leg and they grab the bottom of their shoe. I'm like,
Yes. If you take anything away from this show, let it be these few safety tips.
These are important. I don't think people realize it, how important it is to conduct yourself and hold yourself in a certain manner. And so I'd love to just have you share a few tips as we close out, because you are available for people to bring you in as a keynote speaker. You are available to write articles. What are some tips that are simple that we can do ourselves to keep ourselves safe and healthy when it comes to just traveling with our own things, how to handle them?
Well, obviously, the number one thing is be aware. Don't be absent-minded when you're walking the streets and you're in a foreign country or a foreign land, or even at home. Be very aware of your surroundings and people around you, and walk with purpose. And don't, like I said, you're just a target. Don't sit in your car and be looking at your phone, or on a park bench, be looking at your phone and not aware of what's going on. That's the main thing. Just be aware of your surroundings. Oh, and what was this happened to me twice. For my billfold, I use a clear Ziploc bag. I just do. That's what I use. And I had all my euros stuffed in there. And when I went to buy something, I'd pull out my little Ziploc bag. And twice, two different store managers or store clerk guys said, put that up, ma'am. Don't let anybody see that. They will follow you out of here and rob you, which I thought that was very nice, but it took them having to tell me twice not to do that before I figured out I could kind of go in there and pull something out. But yeah, that you just have to keep your wad of cash hidden. And because, some countries, well, Paris is bad about pickpocketers. And so you just have to be, like I said, be mindful of that. Because I don't think about that in the States. But anyway, those are my little tips.
They're excellent tips. And can you let us know what you're working on for your next project?
I have 2 books coming out. One I just finished and it's printed. I mean, you can order it now from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, Target. It's Abella and the Almost Racehorse. It's based on a true story. My racehorse who got an abscessed tooth, but Bella fixes it in the book. And then I'm just finishing up another book, Abella and the Haunted House, which is an adorable book. And it's based on this house in my subdivision that I wanted to buy so badly, but my husband wouldn't do it. And then I found out the person who bought it is going to tear it down to build something even bigger. But so I wrote a book about it that, it was haunted. And so those people didn't buy it. But that's going to be a very cute book, Abella and the Haunted House.
Congratulations on that. That's exciting. About Abella and the Almost Racehorse, what are some key takeaways for parents so that they can go ahead and order this?
Well, it just, Abella is very helpful and she's kind and she's considerate and, she worries about the racehorse. So she does her best to, calm him down, fix his tooth, get him back to the barn so he can eat because he didn't want to lose weight because he has to be big and strong he wants to be a racehorse. So, no, it's a good book. It just teaches you kindness towards animals. So.
That's really important. It's such a great way to educate children at a young age so that they learn things instead of waiting decades to unlearn things that
yes,
don't really serve them.
Yeah, you have to teach children early to be good to animals because if it's learned behavior and they're not, well, then that's just a crying shame. But even if you don't have pets, you do need to, I think, encourage your children and remind them that, these little dogs and cats, they have feelings. They hurt just like if you pinch them or something.
Absolutely. And Zane, we're closing out by going over to your website here, which I've told you so many times. I absolutely love, love, love your website. Where are some of the key tabs here that you want people to go?
Well, if you go to the books, it lists all of the books. And then the interviews and articles are just some of the, obviously, interviews and articles that I have done. And right now I've got 6 books and the 7th one is coming out, The Haunted House. And all of my books are in English and Spanish. They're all in Spanish and they are available for Kindle or Nook. Well, Kindle, I think, is what Amazon is. So, but that's it. And I'm happy to come to your city and do a book reading or a book signing. If you've got like an independent little bookstore, like I've got a big book reading and book signing here in Saratoga Springs, July 19th. So that will be a lot of fun.
As people break out their fine china and tablecloths and
amazing. And here you've been featured on various platforms. Right here, you're talking about etiquette before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, yes, that is a KHOU Channel 11 in Houston. They had me on. I had the table all set, and we just talked about etiquette and because you're dealing with a lot of family members and what to expect and what subjects don't go there. And that was a lot of fun. I'm friends with those ladies now because I have done several things with them. And then I was on Channel 6 in Albany just talking about my book. And that lady will be at my book reading with her cameras. So it's going to be a fun day.
And here's how it all began for us.
Yes.
Back at RVN Television with Mr. Alcini and Joe Asamonde. I love it. How long ago was that, Zane? 4 years ago?
Yes, that one I was just, the Rodeo book was just coming out. So that was about 4 years ago.
It's incredible how time flies.
Yes.
Well, Zane, it's been an absolute pleasure to be here with you today. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you, and who would you like to contact you?
Well, I love writing articles about etiquette. So if you want anything to put in your magazine, if you're looking for any kind of articles, I've written articles about how to teach children to write thank you notes and what's important to put in them, and RSVP. That's always a big issue. Or you can go through my website, zanecarruth.com, or I'm happy to give you my personal email address, which is ztcarson@yahoo.com. Z as in Zane, T as in Truett, Carson@yahoo.com. And like I said, I book signings, book readings, writing articles. I'm happy to be on your TV show.
That's fantastic. Please do reach out to Zane. And Zane, keep up whatever it is you're doing, because you truly look absolutely gorgeous.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the compliment. I'm glad I need it, because I'm still just a little bit jet lagged.
Well, whatever you're doing, you just have to bottle it and share it with the rest of us. So we look forward to seeing you again, Zane. In the meantime, stay safe. And thanks for sharing the tips that you shared today. There's a lot of value here for our audience.
Well, thank you. And I look forward to seeing you next month.
All right. See you then.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Just a quick message in case you haven't heard. We are on a mission to get to 100,000 subscribers on both of our YouTube channels. We actually have 2 channels that have been going all this time. All of our shows have been streaming on 2 YouTube channels since we started. So the number that we have today is actually higher. I don't remember what it is, but we've picked up maybe 20 more subscribers. So please go over to our YouTube channel and subscribe. That's all we have for today. We'll be back again next month with Elegance, Polished Demeanor, and Posh Living. Thank you so much. Take care. This program has been brought to you in part by Zane Carson Carruth, etiquette and protocol expert, international award-winning author, television show host, and philanthropist. Thank you to Zane, our official diamond sponsor for USA Global TV and Radio in partnership with E360 TV. Zane is the author of the world's first tooth fairy ever, as well as many other children's books. She's also the television host of Elegance, Polished Demeanor, and Posh Living, seen on USA Global TV and Radio.
Hi, my name is Zane Carson Carruth, and I'm the author of this book, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever.
Reading is magic. Studies have shown that reading to your children lays the foundation for greater success in life. Reading helps develop language and vocabulary skills. It helps improve memory, and it encourages curiosity and inspires creativity. The benefits are immeasurable, and as a parent, you'll benefit too. In only 10 or 15 minutes a day, you'll be creating more memories and a bonding experience that will last for years to come. So take time to read to your children. Read them books about things that engage and interest them. Tales of fairies and magic fascinate children, and as everyone knows, the Tooth Fairy is at the top of the list. If your child loves magic, wands, adventure, and what child doesn't, you'll love reading them books from the trademarked series, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever. Follow along as Abella, the world's first tooth fairy, accidentally starts the tooth fairy tradition. Learn the tricks of being a professional tooth fairy in the book, Abella Starts a Tooth Fairy School. Your child's imagination will soar as you read the adventures of Abella and her magic wand. These wonderful books are available at worldsfirsttoothfairy.com and at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Walmart.